Hello. Shalom. What's good? Wagwan. How's it going? Howdy. What's up? Sakafet. Yo. Hi. When I was staying in that psych ward, one of those times, at Larkin, I remember there was this one Indian guy, Native American Indian, a man from reservation, a Seminole Indian of sorts. Huh? Is that Seminole? He was from some tribe, and he was one of my roommates after I was moved into, like, the third room that I stayed at in, like, a 2-week span of time. And during that time, during a majority of the time that I spent there, it was very much like how my life is now, but in a different sense. My life right now, Tyler, the Creator, during every interview, he's always saying, I'm always changing. I don't know who I'm going to be in 6 months. But in a way, the constant thing about him is this change. And so for me, something that's constant about my life is that I'm always pretty obsessed with something. I'm always pretty much all in on something. When I was a little kid, it's probably video games. And then I got a little bit older, and then it was mostly drugs. And then I got a little bit older, and then it was mostly art. And then I got a little bit older, and then it was mostly fitness. And so, when I was locked up in the pen, when I was up in the penitentiary, it was mostly astral projection, meditation, and sleep. So I spent a lot of time, more than half the day, sleeping, laying down, closing my eyes, kind of just letting time pass me by while I was in there. A lot of the time that I spent was laying down, just trying to keep, I don't know, I was so high strung, so kind of pent up and very rigid that I it was almost like if I was under the spell that if I wasn't consciously there to breathe every breath, that I would stop breathing and I would die. Or if I stepped on the crack, I would break my mama's back. Superstitious. Yeah, I remember, I have this one very distinct memory. It just kind of pokes out of my memory of just laying down in my bed, very rudimentary bed. It was a school grade plastic bed frame, bolted to the floor with a 3-inch mattress with rudimentary industrial, like, moving sheets. You know, the kind of sheets that you put over yourself and you're still cold. And I would lay there. And I would look outside of the window adjacent to me, just laying on my back with my hands clasped together, my fingers interlocked, and my pinkies touching, the tips of my pinkies touching, the tips of my pointer fingers touching, and my thumbs touching. And just sitting there, either cross-legged, or having one leg up and over the other leg, or just flat legs, untangled. And I would sit there and just be like a spiritual air traffic controller. Someone would flash into my mind, and if I didn't like who they were or what they represented in my life, I would think of somebody else really fast. No, not you. No, you can't. And I would spend hours in a day not conversing with anybody, just laying there, saying as few words as possible. I had a roommate, this black kid, who was around my age. His name was Bobby. Bobby, he'd be the arbiter of the television. He would hold the remote, put on movies and stuff. Sometimes he would ask me, "Hey, big bro, what do you want to watch?" He would give me the remote and be like, "You put something on." And, I actually really, really liked the silence. I liked it when there was nothing at all playing, I actually recorded this as a sort of tribute. I wanted to make a tribute to how much I love, I'm grateful for, and appreciate my privacy that I have nowadays, and just just a celebration of gratitude for the little bits of freedom that I do have to participate in the things that I enjoy. It's like what is it? It's 4:30 in the morning, and I'm going out for a 5.5 mile walk ski. It's like there have been times in my life where I was not allowed to do this. Having your freedoms, just being able to be taken away from you, gives you a new appreciation when you get those freedoms and privileges back. I think a lot of the times we could take a lot of things for granted, and we don't really get the sense that these things are so fragile, that so many things can be taken away from you in a second. You have the power to walk outside naked, or just with a pair of underwear on, or you could be a guy and walk outside with like a skin tight whatever Kanye West's wife Bianca would wear, and like the likelihood that you're gonna get confronted by like a police officer or something like that, and you're gonna get stopped or reprimanded or something. You're gonna get called in for questioning and psychological analysis, and then people can just determine that you're crazy and you need to be evaluated, taken away from general population, that you need to be under surveillance and what have you. Like you can do that in the next 30 minutes. You can do like let's let's do the Roy fuck up your life speed run. All right, I'm gonna walk outside naked and scream the N-word. Yell it. I'm gonna yell it and see how fast before I get a talking to from the people that overlook society and the kind of people we can have just fucking out and about on a Wednesday afternoon. You know? So being locked up in that kind of way, well, it's eye-opening. That was many, 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 many months ago. That was many, 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 many months ago. But it doesn't matter how many months ago it was. It's the kind of thing that I think about Me being able to go to the store and pick out foods that I like to eat, and me being in charge of what I get to eat, when I get to eat it, how much or how little, all that is now, again, resting on my shoulders. And that's a good feeling. There definitely is that part about living in a society. There is a margin. There is a margin. A type of person, a type of behavior that you do it, you're getting questionable looks. Enough questionable looks. One strike, two strike, three strikes, you're out. And that is the seed of trauma. For me, at least. I used to really live my life like constantly trying to oil myself up and wiggle my way out of a jiu-jitsu submission. Trying to break free of the hold constantly. Always trying to live in that dream state. Give someone something to think about. Give someone an experience or a memory or something. I'm walking on the sidewalk here and now. Every so often, there's a car that passes by me. In my brain, I think about, what if when they were passing, I stopped walking, as per usual, and I just fucking, I hit a fucking, and I hit a Michael Jackson, goddamn, fucking leg kick out shake, boom, little hand on the crotch hump, you know, what if I hit one of those? What if I hit one of those, bro? You're gonna get every kind of piece of criticism that you can imagine, right? The easy ones that come to your mind are like the ones of judgment for sure. Like, what the fuck was that? The ones of anger or hatred. What the fuck was that? What the hell was that guy doing? Jesus Christ, that guy's crazy. That guy's unhinged. things like that. And then there's the other ones. There are the other ones. Like, you can literally you could cement yourself in time as a legend. Forever rippling into the echoes of time as a legend, right? When I was a little kid, I went to my grandma's house with my pappy, with my brother Austin. And in Madison Green, in an old man's golfer's neighborhood, there was a gray-haired, Hulk Hogan mustache, bandana hat, sunglasses wearing, 60s, 70s beach shorts, no shirt, wearing, rollerblading Damon, okay? This guy was listening to fucking, I don't know, bro. He had his Walkman. He was swagged out. Who that, homie, that looks swagged out? That's him, bitch. AK-47. Size of a goddamn minivan. That's a big-ass gun. You don't think they're gonna sock you in the fucking face? Think pow! Suck you right in your fucking face! That's hard. Right. Old geezer. Rollerblading like he's listening to Dancing Queen by ABBA. Alright? He gave no fucks. He was giving the performance of his lifetime riding down the sidewalk. He wasn't just riding. He was gliding. He was sauntering on bladed wheels of glory. Alright, he was going backwards. He was doing the ice cream cone. He was suavemente. He was wiggling like a snake on water. Okay? He was dancing like it was the roller rink. And he was about to get exclusive access to all the babes. Alright, he had a premium membership. Dude, I swear to you, we must have... Dude, he passed us by, and time slowed down. We all turned our heads to the left, and oh my, look at that dude. Holy crap. Oh my god. We got caught in a time loop. This man had aura before we had a word for it. Okay? This dude had so much gravity on him, they had to make the game army of two to even describe what kind of fucking energy this dude was putting out. Okay? Dude, physicists have been on this man trying to define dark matter for years. All because of what this one old man did on 8 wheels 2 rollerblades, and a heart full of passion. Okay? Dude, 99% of the universe is made up of what this guy is, and we don't even know what it is yet. That's what I'm talking about. Dude, if only Kanye went to Sway when he should have went to this guy. Alright? Because this guy had the answers. This guy had the goddamn answers, Sway. Right? So this dude was living the dream. He was living the dream, alright? He was just meditating, okay? He astrally projected himself to the Himalayan mountains during a snowstorm in the midst of a cave where he only had a meager, humble, modest loincloth, supported and wrapped by a coarse hemp rope. And he was listening, he was downloading, through his consciousness, the writings, teachings, and speakings of Rumi. And right before he went out and put those rollerblades on, he heard the voice of Rumi say to him, "Let the caller and the called disappear. Be lost in the call." And he took that and he ran with it. And he became the stories passed down orally from generation to generation. Okay? Thousands of eons passed before we even thought to write this down. These were the stories we told our children. The story about the man with the rollerblades. God. I ponder, right? I ponder and I ponder. Not all the time, not every waking moment, but semi-frequently, on occasion. Pondering just has its way with me, it has its place in my life. And I think to myself sometimes, I think to myself sometimes, nobody's perfect. You live and you learn it again and again till you get it right. I think nobody's perfect. I think about how even the people that I really like, they all have something about them that, I would change or that I just don't think is perfect in some way. Even myself, even me. even me. Perfect people don't exist. And I think I've been thinking, not very actively, but I have thought recently that I'm like, who out there is someone that I, aspire to be like, aspire to emulate, not even aspire, what do I admire? Who do I admire in recent times of my life? And it doesn't come to me as easily as, at other times it might have been easier to uh, distill an answer from the depths of my consciousness. The people in my personal life or my work life, I'm constantly thinking of, oh well, this person's cool because of this reason, or this feeling that we get together, or this feeling that I get from them. But then there's also this other aspect of them that, if I even had the option to choose, that I wouldn't want that to be in the way that I portray myself, display myself, act in the world, behave in the world, participate, engage with the world and those that inhabit it. But that old man with the rollerblades and that man with the rollerblades, even him, okay? Even him, okay? Even him. There's a part of me that, although that might have been the sickest thing I've seen in my entire life, that I've seen a person do, right? This was like an actual fucking person, an actual guy, okay? This would have been a Freaks and Strangers side quest mission in Grand Theft Auto 5, right? This wasn't just a chance encounter, You had to go on top of Mount Chiliad at 11:23 p.m. on a Tuesday with a fucking mariachi car painted chrome and pink with $ rims, with crew color tire smoke, just to get this dude to appear, right? There were requirements. There were prerequisites to get this dude to spawn. And even this dude, I wouldn't necessarily aspire to be that guy, right? I think that there have been moments in my life where I really was that guy to somebody else in this world at some moments in my life. And there might be moments like that where I am that guy, I am Rollerblade guy to somebody else in their life. you know, but Rollerblade Man is like George Lopez and Mr. Puffin stuff. Senior Puffin stuff. You know, when you're a little kid and you go to Mickey D's and you see yourself a hamburger, you finna go crazy, right? You're gonna be like, oh my god, it's a hamburger! Hamburger! Oh my god! But you know, you get a little older, and now, you know, you see hamburger, and you're just not, you know, you're not at the same place that you once were when you were psyched, hyped, and pumped, amped to see the hamburglar. Now you see hamburglar, and you're like, oh, it's the hamburglar. Cool, I guess. Right? Or it just, yeah, like sand through the hourglass. Those are the days of our lives. You know, like, I see a man walking across the street, and what, dude, do you think that he wants me to just stop what I'm doing and hit him with a goddamn breakdancing move? Like an impromptu breakdance battle in the middle of the street on a random Wednesday morning at 5 a.m.? You know? You know, what it, you know, the only thing that I could think of is like, what would I want in that situation if I was that guy? You know, what if I was walking across the street and a person is passing me parallel on the other side of the street sidewalk, walking towards me, and then, you know, we're looking at each other diagonally, horizontally, we're perpendicular to each other now, and then he stops, he points at me, he points in the air, and he does a little dance. Dude, if that happened to me, I'd be, holy shit, fuck yeah. A chance to break out for a second and just be really strange and weird. Oh, I love that. I love that. I love me some of that. Whew. I do. I do. I do. I do. You know, so I don't know. I don't know. You know, my only concern with that is like, you know, for as cool as that is, for as awesome, you know, as that moment is, you know, if life was a video game, you know, that would be considered your ultimate move. You know, that would be considered your special move. That would be considered your fucking, what's that shit called? I was gonna say like whatever, you know, shit Zenyatta would say. Peace overcomes adversity. Transcend. But like whipping out the impromptu dance battle with some rando across the street, like that kind of interaction with another human being, that's like your special move, and that shit's gotta have like a cooldown. There's gotta be some kind of timer on that, right? Like you can't just like follow me here for a second. Like it's 5 whatever in the morning right now, and I saw one dude on the street in 40 minutes. One dude per 40 minutes. Right? Now just imagine if we increase the ratio of that. We increase the frequency of that. And we were in New York City or something. And now we're constantly passing people. We're seeing 40 people a minute. Okay? 40 people a minute. How often are you going to pull out the special move? How often are you going to pull out the ultimate then? Riddle me that one, Riddler. Wouldn't you like to know, Weather Boy? Right? Because what was once something that could have been really fucking awesome is now kind of insane, kind of crazy, kind of, oh, that guy needs medication. That's kind of, oh, this guy didn't take his medication this morning. Or it's like, oh, what the fuck is wrong with that guy? Right? Ooh, that guy's crazy. I'm gonna play along so it doesn't fucking run up and hit me in the head with a hammer like Kai the Hitchhiker. Right? Or am I wrong? Right? Because, like, in life, there is no cool down. Really. It's like, if you have the courage or you're blowing past your inhibitions like that, just, you keep breaking through these ceilings, one after the other like that. At what point are you just manic? Right? I don't know. I have absolutely no clue where the line in the sand is. But I do know that the idea of just, 11 out of 10 beyond maximum volume level human, that kind of scares me a little bit, freaks me out. I think I like being able to see a dude perpendicular to me across the street, and we just kind of recognize that it's like, we could just start, fist bumping right now while looking at each other, or we can keep fucking walking. Right? We can just keep walking, right? And then I'll look ahead, I'll look away, and I'll move on with my life, and you'll do the same at a certain point, and then everything can just be not as ferocious. What do you think about that idea? Isn't that a crazy idea? I don't know, man. I think I'm on to something. I do. Because, the thing about Rollerblade Man is that there's not many Rollerblade men out there. And that's what made him special. Okay? The thing that made Rollerblade Man so special is there's not a lot of Rollerblade men out there doing what he was doing, how he was doing it. Okay? But I guarantee you, if every person that you encountered out in the world, in the public eye, or otherwise, was like, 12 out of 10, buku crazy, volume turned up level human, fucking walking down the street crumping, like, or fucking walking down the street like Robert Moraine in that YouTube video with the fucking dance audition, fucking, that one. Holy shit. Life would get pretty fucking weird pretty fucking fast. I'm definitely going home and looking up on YouTube that Robert Moraine fucking dance audition video, bro. I am. That shit lives deep in my brain. That is in there. So this is all just one, super long filibuster to say that life is perfect, man. Life is perfect the way it is. Just the low key, chilled out, reserved people that you encounter in your life and interact with in your life that aren't, something too special. They're not something that's too special. It's something that is in itself special and to be appreciated. It's like our senses in a way. It's like having the ability to feel, to smell, to taste, to touch, to see, to hear. It just slides under the radar because it's always kind of there. Having these chill people in your life. So yeah, dude. It is kind of perfect. Alright, I'ma go before I give myself the itis. Deuces, homie. See ya, bro. Peace, brother. Alright, see you later. Alright, homie, take care. Hasta luego. Adios. Adima. See ya.